I was just glued in front of the radio. It was, you know, it's what got me through.
What is your oldest friendship then?
Excuse me?
Your oldest friendship?
My oldest friendship, wow. Yeah, I don't even know, you know, I just, now since I'm older, you know, I think that maybe 4 or 5 years I've known some people. You know, here at Armada, I've known the guys at Armada since they started in 2005.
But does it make you more hesitant to bond and to?
No, I don't think it's hesitant. I think it just takes a second. Maybe it's just not in my DNA to automatically just be like, you know, hey, this, yeah.
So how important was, well, here we have a young kid from Germany going to the US, moving, or even moving every 2 or 3 years. Music, breakdance and music. What was music for you then? How important? What was the role of music in your life?
Yeah, music for me was everything. I would just go into my room. I remember when we first moved to the US, I lived in New York for 6 months. With my aunt in New York City. And I remember I would just sit there, she had a radio, and I would sit there and I would listen to WBLS and 98.7 KISS in New York, because it was like, I remember we used to get mixtapes when I lived in Germany coming from these stations, and I got to hear it live for the first time. I was listening to Mr. Magic and you know, Red Alert and then Tony Humphries, and it was, to me, it was just like everything. I would just sit there and listen to the radio just as long as I could, you know. I would go to school, come back home, listen to the radio. I was just glued in front of the radio. It was, you know, it's what got me through. And then when, you know, when I moved again, that's all I did. I would just stay in, and I remember, you know, when it was cloudy, you could get stations. There's a lot of college stations in the United States, and at nighttime, these college stations would play more interesting music. Some of them would play dance music at nighttime, and I remember when it's cloudy days, you could get these college stations from like these obscure colleges, and I would sit there with my headphones and just kind of trying to tune in, you know, these obscure college stations, and I would just sit there and listen to, you know, as long as I could. So for me, music was everything when I was growing up.
So even you can say the music is your longest friend.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's why I do a radio show, because what radio shows did for me growing up, the inspiration that it gave me, I hope that I'm able to do the same thing for maybe somebody else that's out there that's trying to find their way, that's lost, doesn't really feel like they fit in. I'm hoping that I'm able to be their voice, like the radio was my voice when I was growing up.
You were saying you were growing up, radio was your voice. Is there one DJ that you got fond of, and you say, well, that's a DJ that I really connected to back in those days?
Yeah, you know, like at first it was the mix shows coming out of you know, New York. Like I said, Mr. Magic, Red Alert, and then Tony Humphries. But for me, when I started DJing, the name that I used to hear all the time was Larry Levan and the Paradise Garage. So that, to me, I think Larry Levan and the Paradise Garage is the biggest influence on me DJing wise. Just the stories.
Did you tell?
No, unfortunately, I was never able to, I mean, I was too young to go to the Paradise Garage, and then Larry Levan died, you know, after the Paradise Garage closed. But those stories that I used to hear about the Paradise Garage, those stories, you know, really inspired me. And you know, I've talked with some people about it, about the Paradise Garage, and you know, what's cool is that Danny Tenaglia, who I looked up to, he was a, you know, he would go to the Paradise Garage and dance and listen to Larry Levan. Paul Oakenfold used to go to the Paradise Garage and listen to Larry Levan. And, you know, it's just kind of like, I don't think there's anybody, you know, not many people in this generation of DJs who, you know, who's directly inspired by Larry Levan.
When did he die? Because I'm not really into the...
I think Larry died in, I think it was 92. I'm not 100% sure what year it was, but yeah, it was